welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your host, Ian Carlos Crawford, and joining me as my lovely co-host, I have he and I do My Bloody Judy together.
Zachary Patton Garcia.
Hi, Zach.
Hey, I'm excited to do this again.
We're just recording all the time.
All the time. Jeez, every other day, man, every other day. But we also have with us today part-time porn star, full-time Buffy fan.
Hi, it's Ivy Lebelle.
Hi, Ivy.
Hi, I'm so stoked to be here.
And we also have TV writer and internet menace,
Neil McNeil. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Hi, I'm so happy to have both of you. I think I told all of you that I was pretty sure that the three of you would vibe well together. Like, I was like, ooh, I think these three, I try to place guests together that I think will work well together. And I was glad this worked out that I got all three of y'all for this.
Watch, you're going to be wrong.
I'll be totally wrong. So what we're doing is we're going to be talking about Buffy Season 7's Get It Done. I always want to say Get Out, because that's what Dawn says. Get It Done. Which, oddly, is for me, that's the start of a string of good episodes. And I think it's an underrated good episode. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a new Buffy episode weekly until the end of the season. So I took a lot of breaks this year. We're actually going to get it done. But before we get into the episode, Ivy, would you like to give us your Buffy origin?
Yeah, mine's kind of funny. I didn't watch it when it was airing on TV. Ooh. I had really Christian parents, and they were not down for the buff. So I got my wisdom teeth taken out when I was 21 and decided to just start watching Buffy, and it was all over from there. I became fully enthralled, fully obsessed. I had no idea how emotionally connected I would feel to this show, and I am now 34, and I continue to watch this show on a very regular basis. It's my comfort show.
I love that. It's funny because we are old enough that we were it was on when we would have watched it, but same, I didn't start watching. I think I started in season 3, then fell out, and not till 5 did I actually start watching it, and then backwards got the DVDs and stuff.
Oh yeah, I still have my DVDs. I'm never gonna get rid of them.
Oh my god! So Zach is someone who still buys DVDs. I really don't, but my Buffy DVDs are those and Angel are the only things the DVDs I will never part with.
Well,
I don't blame you.
Yeah, when you think about it, you can buy a movie on Amazon Prime, but you don't really own it, and they can take it off at any time, and then you don't have it anymore, right? And so, I don't know. I've started recollecting all my stuff, but I have all of the Buffy seasons that used to come out. They used to come out in really cool packaging, right? Golden days of home releases.
Yeah. I used to fall asleep to it all the time. So the song just playing on loop in my subconscious for much of my 20s probably did something to me.
It's waking up to the DVD menu. It was awesome.
Yep.
It's funny. I always can place, right? If you're watching an episode and you're like, oh, that was the DVD menu music. You can recognize. Neil, what was your Buffy origin? We've been friends for a long time, and I've never heard this.
Oh, you've never heard this? Oh my gosh. Okay. I thought this would have been one of the first things we talked about because my Buffy origin is actually the exact opposite of yours, Ivy. I have 2 older sisters, and they would rent Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie from Blockbuster, all the time. And I would watch it with them. And I became obsessed with the character. And then my mom, at 7 years old, came to me and said, oh, they're making this into a TV show. We should watch it together. So I would watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer at 7 years old with my mother. And she fell off, and then I became obsessed, and she would buy me the DVDs for Christmas every year. Her and my dad were so they were we have a weird kid who's obsessed with this weird WB show that's definitely 10 years too old for him. Just straight out of the gate, they're there's no hope for this kid. He is idolizing Sarah Michelle Gellar to the grave. And it's actually kind of funny because Buffy is also my TV writing origin story, because I would go through the DVD packaging and would memorize who wrote what episode and be ooh, this one's my favorite episode because Jane Espenson wrote it. I love all of her episodes. She is my favorite person in the whole wide world. And then it became like so surreal when I moved to LA and like met her, and I was like, oh my God, you're a hero to me.
That's such a cool origin.
Yeah.
I also got to take a Buffy class in college, which was like peak me.
Oh my God.
So I remember hearing about that Buffy class, and I was so jealous that like no college that was near me or that I went to gave it, but I did buy the like textbook for it just because I was like that nerd.
I was going through my childhood bedroom, which was, you know, all throughout my teenage years, and I still have all those Buffy textbooks. Like one, like at the end of the year when you would sell your textbooks back to the school for like $5 each, right. I refused to part with my Buffy books. I was like, these are mine. Like I own these now. I am a Buffy scholar.
I'm very impressed.
I feel like you kind of are, Neil. You have an angel tattoo, don't you?
I have the wings from the Angel DVD box set on my back. That was my first tattoo.
It's dedication right there. That is dedication. I have a question for you, Neil and Ivy. What would you say your favorite season is? Or what would you say, what season kind of fits you right now? If you can't come up with a favorite, I guess.
I mean, I do have a favorite, but Ivy, do you want to go?
No, you go first. I need to think for a second.
Okay, my favorite, I will always say hands down, like season 5.
Okay.
That to me is like when the show hits its emotional stride, when they kind of like shake out all like okay, this is what it was, but now we're transitioning into this sort of show. And it feels like the most growth for the characters too. But the season that fits me right now, I would definitely have to say season 3. Like I'm in just like full Faith chaos mode.
Oh, I love that. Love it.
I'm a big Faith fan.
Yeah,
I think I think my favorite all time is 3. It's just so like aesthetically perfect for me. It was like my bisexual awakening with Faith. Just obsessed with her. And it's kind of a perfect season, but I do agree, like 5 is technically like the best. Just overall it is the best, but my personal favorite is 3. And right now I'm a season 6. It's a little dark.
Fair.
You randomly burst into song sometimes.
You know, a little bleak, but do burst into song occasionally, and you know, fucking Spike. So that's always great, you know.
I mean, I always say I think 3 and 5 just like are the best seasons.
Yeah,
they're just they're the seasons that like there's barely any skips. It's like, you know, when people are like, "What's an album with no skips?" Well, those are like seasons with no skips for me.
Totally.
And like, you know, there's like 4 and 6 have my favorite episodes, Hush and the musical, but like 3 and 5 are my favorites. Zach, you answer your question then. I'm curious what you...
oh gosh, I feel like I've answered this 50 million times on this. 7 has a real like great place in my heart. I love 7 a lot. It's, you know, a lot of people don't really vibe with it, but I think just the nostalgia tie for me, it's I don't know. Favorites are weird though. It's like just catch me on, you know, whatever given day, and it might change. But 7 today.
So Zach, were you watching 7 in real time while it was airing, or
yes, yeah. Okay. I was watching it in real time while it was airing. I remember the finale having a bunch of like guys come over, like a couple of buddies I had, come over and sleep over. And none of them watched Buffy, so they made fun of it throughout the entire finale, and just sent me into a tailspin. I was so mad. Went into my sister's room and locked the door and watched the rest of it by myself.
Oh my god!
But no, it's just good. You know, I like the fashion in it. I like how powerful Buffy seems. You know, I like all the speeches. We get a speech in this one, the Chloe's an idiot speech. So, excited to get into it.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we kick off the episode? I actually had forgotten, like in my brain, she spends a lot more time in that desert with the shadow guys than she actually does. Like I was like, oh, there's like 25 minutes left and now she's going. I like this creepy, like the lullaby music they're playing while she's like walking through the dark house. I forgot that we got this scene, and I wish there was like a little bit more of this shit. Like I love Buffy prophetic dream stuff in the show.
Yeah. I always love a little dream sequence. It's a little weird. I like seeing everybody in the Summers house, right? Like camped out on the floor. One, there's no air mattresses. I guess, everybody's sleeping on hardwood floors. And two, it's funny that they could fit all of these girls in here, but could not fit Faith in there in season 3. They let her shack up in a hotel.
This episode feels like very I forgot. It's been a while since I've watched season 7. They're in a war right now, and this is wartime in the Summers household, and like it just feels so like raw and real. And it's like, oh yeah, of course, like this is something they've never done before. Like you said, like when Faith was in town, it was always like the prim and proper, like Buffy trying to like live her normal life, and she was like, no, like we're not going to have this interloper come into our house. And now it's like we need all hands on deck.
Yeah. There's 75 interlopers.
And it's so the first Slayer comes in at this point, right?
Yeah.
Anytime the first Slayer ever makes an entrance, she doesn't just tap Buffy on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I have some information for you." She like body slams her, right? Every single time.
Yeah, she's never just like, "Oh, excuse me, here's some news for you." It's like, let's fight and
say, "Hey, Buffy,
you gotta earn this info."
Yeah, and I like that Chloe is like crying in the corner as like foreshadowing. I mean, it's not really foreshadowing, but it's like, ooh, look, this character, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always liked when Buffy did that shit where they would mix, in the earlier seasons, she had a lot more dreams of like, I feel like when Angel was around, she was always dreaming about him.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this.
It's one of those instances that like you want to shake Buffy and be like, this dream is trying to tell you something, so like maybe you should check on this girl, but she is so laser focused on the war that's in front of her that she doesn't even think to check in with her troops.
Yeah, Ivy, what do you think of this opening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of the Buffy dream sequences as well. And I do love the first Slayer when we referenced her. And I'm jumping ahead, but I do love how we kind of get an idea of why the first Slayer is as harsh as she is. Because she is so intense.
Yeah. Yes, that's a thing I love about this episode. I love like us filling in the mythology.
Totally.
And like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, but something like the Scythe, I'm bummed that only comes in
gosh,
2
what
episodes.
A waste, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so, and they didn't predict how much longevity this Scythe was going to have, right? It's in all of the images. People do fan art, and there's always a Scythe. And if they had known that, they probably would have brought it in, episode 1 or 2?
Yeah. Like, I really wish she had it, maybe even half the season.
Yeah.
But like, I don't love that it's like, it doesn't bother me as like a plot device, but I wish it could have been earlier. And like, something like this, I'm glad this is coming in. We're not like getting this like backstory real quick at the end, kind of like how we get that woman who's the Guardian, but then she dies 2 seconds later and it doesn't even matter. Like that shit I don't like, but this I love. But so we cut to the credits after the first Slayer tells her it's not enough. I also forgot that's the last time we see the first Slayer is this like 2-second scene with 3 words. So we cut to the credits, and post credits we get this nice scene of Anya and Spike walking together. Anya, they really didn't know what to do with her after Selfless, but she's so good in every scene, right?
Yes. Poor Anya, they have her like pining for Spike, which just doesn't feel natural for me at all. It's like, oh, the world's really about to end. Anya is trying to like helplessly flirt with Spike. I don't buy it.
I mean, but also I would also be horny around Spike like that.
Oh, well, 24/7 from season, when does he appear? Season 2?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Season 2 on for me.
And also for Anya, she's like facing her mortality and all this. Like she's not a demon anymore. There's no guarantee that she could make it out. She like is grappling with the fact that like, yeah, I'm probably going to die soon. So might as well climb this tree.
Absolutely.
So like, good for you for shooting your shot, Anya.
And she's also sort of isolated, She is only, like they even say it later, she's only there because she's scared or because, she's lonely. She doesn't, like, what would Anya do if she went off on her own? She doesn't have any family. She doesn't have Halfrick anymore. It's really just her.
Yeah.
And, she's probably clinging on to anybody that will talk to her at the moment,
That's true, yeah. That's true. And, like, the only one she was close with is, like, her ex-husband who or ex-fiance who left her at the fucking altar. Like, he's not exactly like the best kind of person you want to be like paired off with.
The guy that like everybody took his side, right? And so you know what does she even do here?
He's the only one who knows what she's going through, though, because he's the only real mortal amongst them, besides Dawn. True. But nobody wants to talk to Dawn.
Rude. But I do kind of like these. We don't get a lot of these like solo moments between characters in season 7, so I do like when we get them. I also kept thinking, like, I don't know. I feel like if Anya's hot too, Spike, like, why not? Just like, you're like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this. It's the end of the world. Like, me and Buffy aren't, I don't know what we're doing. We got weirdsies going on. Let's, me and Anya fuck. Like, they're both hot. Why not?
But they went down that road already, and it didn't turn out so great.
That's true. I do have to point out, the thing that like weirdly bothers me is that when the demon shows up, he says he was sent by D'Hoffryn, but like the whole like conceit of the end of Selfless was that D'Hoffryn wanted her to live with the fact that he killed her best friend, like right in front of her. And he's like, ooh, your time's gonna come, referencing like she's gonna die at the end, and she does. So I'm like, why are these demons like being sent by him? I don't know.
And maybe they're just there to rough him up.
True. So then we cut to Sunnydale High. Robin Wood is reprimanding some students. He's now like in the fold of like, he knows what's going on. We had just the previous episode, he like told Buffy his mother was a Slayer, and we learned it was Nikki Wood who Spike had killed. So what happens here, Zach?
It's just a moment between Robin Wood and Buffy, and Robin Wood gives Buffy this. It's a bag, right? It's a bag full of stuff that he says he's never gone through.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, I'd have gone through that bag every day of my damn life. But he gives her this bag full of this Slayer stuff, I guess, that should have been passed down to Buffy. Buffy's like, oh, I don't really want it. I believe Buffy too. She's probably like, I don't have any room in my house for this right now. Like, this is clutter. We're decluttering right now. But she takes it, and they go back to the house, right?
Yeah. Which I do really like. I know, Zach, you're not the biggest fan, but I love Andrew here, like meeting Robin Wood and like stammering.
This is one of my favorite lines of the entire series is guestage.
Yes. I don't know. I find Andrew very charming, and like everyone's understandably very serious about what's going on. And so that's why I really like the like levity of him and Anya sometimes, of like, yeah, they know it's the end of the world, but they're still going to like be kind of shitty and jokey about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy Andrew in this season personally. He offers this comedic relief that I think is done tastefully enough, because he's just kind of trying his best to create this like exciting narrative, even though he has nothing to do with anything really. So, you know, he's trying his best, and I really love when she says, yeah, he was evil and now he bakes. That was like, I'm like, kind of same.
So I do like him, and especially just like, you know, Tom Lank, he did a video for us that it took me a second. He was like, oh, when the apocalypse comes, just like wear the same outfit every day. And now I'm realizing, oh, they do have him in, like, he's kidnapped in those clothes and doesn't really get changed till like the second to last episode.
The punishment is a little weird considering all of the evil shit these people have done.
Everyone in that house has killed someone. And
it's decided that Andrew is the evil of the evilest that needs to be held hostage. He can't change, no showers. It doesn't really make sense. But, you know, I love seeing that Andrew is a domesticated former evil bad guy, you know?
Also, Robin Wood is like very condescending with him.
Yeah, I don't like the energy Robin Wood comes in this house with.
Yeah, he really... Right, he comes, because I really enjoy him, like, in other episodes, and, like, I mean, he's gorgeous, but, like, yeah, he comes in with, like, his chest all puffed out, and is, like, very, I don't know, it's almost like he feels Buffy's the only one that's, like, more of an equal, and everyone else is, like, a fucking idiot.
Well, also, Robin Wood is not here for the right reasons. Like, he is here for one thing and one thing only, is to get a look at Spike.
Mm-hmm.
He literally does say, "Show me the vampire" later. So yeah.
Like, I forgot how sinister they played him in those, like, especially those first run of episodes of season 7, where you're like, ooh, he has some, like, ill intentions and wants to come for Buffy, and then it's like, no, it turns out, like, he's a good guy, he's on our side, but it's like, he kind of is holding a grudge, and it's causing his vision to be clouded in all of this, in this war.
Yeah, he's very singular-minded in this, and I literally wrote in my notes, Robin Wood, so hot, such a drag. Like, like
he's dealing with the inherited trauma that his mother, as a Slayer, faced with being forced into this life, and is now having to carry that weight since her passing, and is now altering his mind and causing him to do all sorts of crazy things.
Yes.
You know, Ivy, you summed it up perfectly. So hot, but such a drag.
It is fair, though, right? Kind of fair, because you imagine he watches his mother die, and then he doesn't get to address this trauma until much, much, much later on, and like lives his whole life thinking about this and replaying this and knowing that these things are out there, and then he's not out there, hanging out with the Slayer or anything like that. Buffy's the first Slayer he meets after his mother, right?
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, he finally like meets this Slayer and is introduced, it finally gets access to this world that he already knows exists. And it's like, he's going crazy in his mind, and his mind is just stirring, and it makes sense that he would be a little bit more singular-minded and want revenge on Spike. I mean, Spike should have been dead a long time ago if we really think about it.
Right. I mean, yeah, I love Spike, but yes, there's no reason they shouldn't have killed him many moons ago. I from First Date, the other episode before this, where at the end he does, like, the first comes to him as his mother, that scene's really good, and he, like, sells that scene of, like, the, like, absolute rage he has inside when, like, he learns that vampire Buffy is friends with is the one that killed his mom. And, I guess you're right, Zach. I can't blame him, right? Like,
but also we're in a war, so get over it,
But also,
this is the first going after one of Buffy's strongest players in the war, Spike. He says, if I can turn one of Buffy's own against him, I could eliminate a key player in all of this. Who, I mean, spoiler alert, he is a key player.
Right. Yeah.
the key player. But yeah, I end up really sympathizing more with Principal Wood in later episodes. He kind of breaks my heart, but like in this episode and leading up to it, I was very like, upon first watch, like, fuck this guy. I'm like, like, get out of here with your vendetta. There's an apocalypse. Yeah. Like, everyone's gonna die, including you. So let's move on.
It's the puffy chest for me walking in there. It's like, sir, your mother was the Slayer. You are principal of Sunnydale High School. That is your role.
You are very likely to get eaten, so calm down.
But so then they walk out back, and that's where he sees all the potentials. I will say I'm a big Kennedy defender, but I don't like that she's such an asshole to the other girls in this scene. I'm like, all right, relax. But I've been asking everyone, Ivy, how do you feel about Kennedy?
For Willow, I'm happy that towards the end she finds, some camaraderie and some romance, but I mean, it's just an impossible act to follow after Tara, and she's just a personality type that I don't personally vibe with. I don't like bratty, bossy, overly confident people. And I'm like, where does all this confidence come from? What's the deal? But I don't hate her. I'm just kind of like,
That's fair.
Kind of,
That's fair. Neil, how do you feel about Kennedy?
Guys, I'm a Kennedy apologist. I'm sorry.
I
will defend Kennedy unto the ends of the earth. And it wasn't until, of course, when I was a kid watching this, I was so mad that they were pairing Willow off so quickly with someone else. But Kennedy is a complex character. She was a child trained for this very war. So she's kind of in her own head saying, this is my time to shine. She always thought she was about to age out of being a Slayer. Like, she was convinced she was never going to get this chance to do the very thing that she was trained for. She's kind of the anti-faith in a lot of that regard, in that she was someone who took this assignment very seriously, someone who wanted to be that soldier, someone who wanted to save the world. And now she's like, this is my one shot to do it. And the fact that she like falls in love with Willow, I'm like, whatever, good for you. You need some structure in your life, Willow.
Neil, I don't know that we've talked about this, but I am a Kennedy defender as well, because everyone hates it. I feel like I can appreciate your point of view, Ivy. It's just like, but like some of the hate, I'm like, all right, relax. Like, I feel like, I mean, the thing I've said 1,000 times on this podcast during this season is, oh, a hot young top wants to like lay me out at the end of the world. Sure. Like, doesn't have to be true love. Like, they can just be like, oh, we kind of like each other and like, let's fuck. Sure. Why not? Right? Like,
I agree. That's why I'm neutral. I'm chaotic neutral about Kennedy.
Fair.
And yeah.
That's where I think I am. It's not that I hate her, right? It's all of us were a different kind of person at 18 years old, right? I probably was very egotistical, led with my ego, with overly confident, whatever. That's where we're seeing her now. So that's really where my annoyance of her comes from. I don't know how they would bring her back if they did a revival right now. And she is like burdened with all this, end of the world crap, so it's
and it's funny because every roommate that I had in New York was a straight guy, and every one of them I got to watch Buffy, and they all loved Kennedy. They were like, oh, why do people hate her? The potentials are annoying. She's the only one that like can do anything but scream. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, I'm like, yeah, like she's not my favorite, but she is very capable. And like, even like an episode like this, after Chloe kills herself, all the potentials disappear, which I kept being like, where is everyone else? But like Kennedy's still there because like, even like the main Scoobies kind of are like, yeah, she's capable. Let's like let her into the mix. Right. But anyway, so Kennedy does get a little like, I think, too mean to Chloe. It's like, all right, we're all friends here. Everyone relax.
And also, does it seem like this is the first time they're doing this? Because Chloe's like 20 what? Like they'd never done this before. And you look around, it's like, no, Kennedy, they're not ready to kick ass. Like nobody's ready right now.
Yeah, nobody in that group. I do, and then like she like excitedly comes over and like says how much she loves doing this. I do love the bit of Willow coming out with all the weapons.
Oh yes.
Allison Hannigan does really good, like that kind of like stumbly, like cute nerd where she's like, well, and like her like very bad lies. And I thought that was like pretty cute when she was like, oh, good, I'm glad, because if you asked about the weapons, I had nothing. What, she didn't know what like lie to make up.
Yeah, I thought it was super cute. It gave me like a throwback to simpler times. Like just like that one moment felt a little bit, like, oh, this could have been in any season when maybe the world wasn't fully ending yet. Like, so it's kind of comforting when you're watching it. Like, oh, this feels normal, because everything else in this season doesn't feel normal at all.
We also get a very cute. I like the bit of like Robin Wood saying, "Oh, Buffy tells me you've been experimenting," and we get like the quick like blip of everyone's face, and he's like, "With magics."
Yes.
I love the follow-up to it, like she almost destroyed the world because she's so just like her prime Willow self.
So Neil, I gotta like, you are someone who has been into Buffy forever. How do you feel? Like some of the gay jokes that they do don't always land for me, but I still appreciate that like this was one of the few shows that like, especially back then, had gay characters, so it could make like gay jokes that aren't like homophobic. Like some of them are kind of lame, but like they're not like homophobic or offensive. They're like gay jokes that straight people who have gay friends make.
Yeah, it's very like tongue in cheek to me. It's very like everyone is in the know, and like here comes this outsider who's like making a comment about something completely different, and then it's everyone else panicking. That to me is, because that's not Robin making a gay joke. That's everyone having this sense of panic, being like, wait, what? What are we talking
about? Zach, how do you feel about them?
It's hit or miss, it usually is. And you also got to think about just where everybody's mindsets kind of were at this time. Because it was different, I guess. And so, but I think Robin Wood is definitely the character type to think that he blends in with the group a little too soon and would make a gay joke real quick.
Yeah.
Thinking it was funny and nobody else would laugh.
My friend once ended up, she was like, hey, do you want to, like, I was out drinking with her in New York, and we met up with one of her coworkers was out, and he was like, hey, where are you? And we were at a gay bar in Hell's Kitchen, and him and his friend came to meet us, and his friend was that guy. where like either he had too many gay friends, so he was immediately trying to be too whatever with me, or he had no gay friends and was just like, oh, cool, look, I can make these jokes, and kept saying like, Ian's my date today. Like, oh, me and Ian are going to go home together. And I was like, no, we're not. And then like I laughed and was like, Jess, that guy's annoying. Like, that guy's annoying. I don't like him. And then they ended up dating after that. Very briefly.
No.
And she would bring that up all the time. Like, I know you don't like him. And I'd be like, no, he's fine.
It's so, like when the jokes are at someone else's expense, then yes, I'm so against them. Like anytime they made a gay joke about Xander or like Xander being gay, I'm just like, ugh, not this again.
Yeah, the season like 2 and 3 when Larry comes out, it's like, all right.
Yeah, we don't need to compare. What does he think? They think he's like a werewolf, but then they compare that to being gay. It's not. No, we don't need to compare the two. Not comparable.
Right. Yeah, just because I like getting bit doesn't mean I'm a werewolf.
Exactly.
It means you're a vampire. Duh.
Duh.
So Robin Wood does say, "Show me the vampire," which I kept thinking of the meme that went around when The Mandalorian was on, and I forget the guy. It's like he's someone famous, isn't he, Neil? The guy that's like, show me the baby.
Oh, I cannot remember. The Mandalorian to me is just all vibes, and I'm just like there, and I'm like, cool space desert.
Absolutely, I'm here. Absolutely, I'm right there with you.
God, I'm trying to. He's like a he makes documentaries. I couldn't even say the word. He makes documentaries, and he's like, I don't know, but it was a weird role for him. Anyway, he gets killed 2 seconds later. But so they go down to the basement, and Spike and Anya are arguing about the fact that he didn't kill the demon that attacked them. I will say this to me is the loosest thread in the episode of like, ooh, Spike's not as tough as he used to be, and like getting his jacket makes him tough.
That was weird.
Yeah, right. I like any moment with Anya, and I think she looks cute in her little cardigan. But so then Spike makes the Buffy writers love doing this when he's like, oh, I'm only the only one that like beat that guy off, and he's like, oh, the better word would have been say repel him. And this scene, Zach, this is where Robin Wood is like 100 at 100, right? He's like so aggressive.
Yeah.
And it feels like Buffy doesn't notice.
Or she doesn't give, you know what? This is not her priority right now, okay?
That's true.
Like, she should not have to notice this. If this is a war and she is the leader, there need to be like people under her dealing with shit like this. This is not her job.
And her whole plan right now is to recruit him to help out, because she's like, we need all the soldiers we can get, and anyone with any sort of Slayer knowledge might be helpful here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she's also had powerful men puffing their chests at each other around her constantly her entire life. So she probably is just like, whatever. I don't even know.
Also a good point, Ivy.
Just go beat off together and then come back when you're refreshed and everybody's happy and ready to go, okay?
My notes literally say these boys need to kiss or fuck it out, and then relaxed. You are right. Buffy's just like, whatever, keep puffing your chest. I don't fucking care. So then we cut to, this is one of the few cute sister moments Buffy and Dawn get, and I'm so bummed that it's like very quickly interrupted, but I like that Dawn's like, oh, I'm just not going to school. Oh, I'm going to fail out. And she's like, oh, I just like seeing you get upset. And then like they walk in on poor Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this scene is done well, though. It is like bleak. I
mean, I think it's pretty dark and realistic, and I think this is kind of where the season starts taking a way more serious tone, and the rest of the episode gets really serious. It's like, oh no, this is real. This is evil. This is actual darkness. And I think like evil personified would be like, what takes over, and the darkness that can take over, leading someone to take their own life when they wouldn't of otherwise, and so it was just it was very real, and I feel like it's very pivotal in this episode as well as the season.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where like I think it kind of shakes everyone to their core, because it's the first death that they weren't able to prevent outright, because all the potentials who had died in pursuit of coming to Sunnydale died before they could get to be under their watch. I believe this is one of the first actually like kills of their litter, their little team.
Because the other potential she buries her next to like got to the house, but it was the first, and she died like in a hotel.
Yeah. So it's like the very first casualty of their war, someone that they actually knew. So it kind of like shakes everyone and makes them realize like any one of us could be next, and we need to figure out what to do and how to handle the situation, which then causes chaos amongst the friends.
Yeah.
It's just insanely creepy, you know. So the rule is that the first can't touch anybody, right? But when they walk in and see the first standing next to this body, it's almost like the first is sitting there like swinging the body and kind of taunting them with it. And everybody is looking at this, and Buffy says, you know, don't listen, but like everybody's listening. Nobody's not going to just cover their ears or like walk. It would have been hilarious if everybody just turned around and, you know, walked off, leaving the first just giving that speech. But this is the first casualty of what Neil said, the litter. You know, and this is such like a DIY army that there's no training. You know, they're not trained to see how each other's feeling, if everybody's like handling the pressure all right. You know, everybody's just kind of thrown in there, and we're seeing these little seeds that Chloe was not handling this pressure, you know, and nobody could pick up on that because everybody's mind is like elsewhere, you know?
And like, I mean, that's fair though, right? Like everyone's mind would be at like a 10, right?
It's like there is no right way to kind of put this whole thing together. And I think we see that later with Buffy's speech and everybody thinking it's too harsh, but like, what is the right way? Because clearly we're in a tailspin right now.
Right. And you know what? I actually do think what makes it even creepier is when the first, as Chloe says, TTFN, and like Buffy's like, what's that? Because Buffy's like, you know, quote unquote, the adult. But then it's just like, oh, it's just reciting a Winnie the Pooh thing that she liked. Like Tigger says that. And I think that makes it even more like chilling and bleak that it's like a little kid thing, not like a ominous, threatening thing. It's just, oh, she was saying a little kid thing that Chloe liked, you know, because she was like a younger teen girl.
Yeah, I agree that it's like super creepy because it's the depths in which the first can really like dig up in you.
Yeah.
You know, so very creepy.
So now we're at the speech. We see Buffy burying Chloe. She comes in, asks if anyone wants to say any words. I don't know, Zach, you mentioned it before. Give me your rundown of this.
The speech.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's gathered. Everybody's gathered in the same space, but there's also like different pockets of the room that everybody's kind of huddled into on their own. And then Buffy comes in and gives this speech starting with, you know, Chloe was an idiot. And it's harsh and it kind of slaps everybody in the face and knocks everybody off balance. And she proceeds to give this speech like, I can't be soft on you guys. Like, you guys I've been carrying you. I've been too easy on you. And like, this is not working. Kind of going around. Do you guys think that she was too harsh? Or do you think this is the kick in the ass that everybody needs?
I think that she could have worded it a little less harsh because she does get a lot of pushback. You know, people start getting kind of annoyed with Buffy acting like she's the only one capable of doing anything, and they start feeling kind of unseen. And you know, that's kind of also the beginning of this weird mutiny that ends up happening, and you can kind of see it starting there. People are like, "What the fuck? I'm like doing everything I can, lady." Like, you know. So I mean, I can put myself in Buffy's shoes and I would probably say the exact same things, but she is talking to a bunch of teenagers and she's also talking to people that have been helping her their entire lives. And I think they just feel a little bit, you know, not appreciated in that moment. You know, it could have been handled a little more delicately.
Yeah, it's Buffy is always the series really drives home that Buffy is always strongest when she relies on others, when she quote unquote shares her power. And this is kind of one of those moments where she thinks the only way to get through this is to step up and become a leader, quote unquote, but not consult anyone. So it really is the first trickle of this big mutiny that does happen, like you said. And it really is starting to show that she's just as much as everyone else. She's never had to lead an army before. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she's not willing to ask for help from everyone. She thinks, I have to be the strongest one and carry this burden. And it's like, no, girl, everyone can help you with this. Just like, let them come in and let's have a discussion about this.
Yeah, Zach, what do you think?
I see it both ways because clearly she needs to, and she's been kind of doing this already, right? Kind of trying to toughen them up a little bit. And at this point, you know, you can say, oh yeah, these are teenagers. We have to, you know, be a little bit more gentle with them. But at the same time, like this is not a normal circumstance. Like this is life or death. And this is a very, if we're talking an army, this is a very small army. And she needs them to be tough. She doesn't have room or a margin for error. She doesn't have room for them to, have feelings, which on the flip side, on their side, it's like, well, we do have feelings. We're human. We're terrified. We are, and you're not exactly coming in and giving us pep talks. You're coming in and saying Chloe was an idiot. And so I see it from both ways. It's just a really hard place for everybody to be in. And she's 22 here? Like, she's not going to do it the right way anyway. She's going to try different methods and see what works. But she even goes after Spike at one point and, kind of questions his.
That's where it feels like she's just lashing out at that point.
Yeah, because Buffy's been, back to back to back toxic relationships, right? So she knows how to be in a toxic relationship. And what do you do in a toxic relationship is, you tack your man's manhood, like that's what she's doing. And he gets so fired up, he got to go get his jacket later on, But this is the speech she should have given Angel every time he was whimpering in a corner,
Oh my God. Yes, please.
But I will say, like, I feel like you're all right. Like, I go back and forth. I think I told you this recently, Zach. Like, every time I rewatch season 7, I feel like I take a different side because I do understand that, like you said, Zach, Buffy, it's not like she's like this 30-year-old talking to teenagers. She's not that far removed from their age. But she is kind of being a little too much. Like, I get what she's trying to do, but like, these are all like teenagers who were not, Kennedy's the only one who was trained, and like her friends kind of too. But like all the rest of these like younger girls are not trained, are just fucking terrified. So like, I don't know that saying, oh, this person who just died by suicide, they're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't know that that's like helpful, right?
And it's not helpful, but she thinks that this is the way to go, that she needs to be a hard ass. And you think about it, it's a bunch of kids in a house with no parental supervision. And there's one who steps up and is like, I'm going to be the boss here and do things the way I think the adult would do them, right? In a way, like, she's seen Giles be harsh to her. Maybe she is just kind of, trying to emulate a style of that. But there really is no right way to do any of this. Everybody's just taking step by step by step.
Yeah. And like, the thing that I, like, when Kennedy's like, hey, you're out of line, like, I'm like, see again, Kennedy's kind of right. And I hate that she like lashes out at Xander. She lashes out at Spike. I do kind of like when she's like, says something about her friends, and Anya's like, I'm not. She's like, then what do you do? She's like, what do you do? And Anya's like, I prevent much needed sarcasm. I think that's such like a very good Anya line. But yeah, so Spike leaves because she's just like, I need the Spike that tried to kill me when he met me. And it's like, okay, well, that's not what you need because you don't want him to try to kill you. But like, I don't know. Yeah. So, but then we kind of just immediately go into like, all the potentials disappear from the house. Do we know, do they say where Giles is at all?
No, they don't. Do they?
He's not mentioned at all, I don't think, in this episode.
Like, I don't even think they say his name.
You know what what Giles needs to be out there doing is the council is gone now. There is money sitting in a bank account somewhere, and they need this money. Okay, she needs back pay for 7 years.
Zach, you're right. You should be looking for that Watcher Council money. So we get this scene of they're opening up the bag. She's called Robin Wood over. I fucking love all of this shit. I like that it's like they're looking through the shadow puppets or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm into shit like this with the Scoobies.
I love a good event, like something that's gonna like really take you out of the story and be like, ooh, this new thing is like leading us down this like creepy path. I don't know. I always love when shit drives a narrative like that.
I like when they get mystical with it, and it actually feels ancient and creepy and cool. And I when I first watched it, I was very like, where is this going?
Yeah, you know what? You make a good point, because it is kind of like Buffy had mostly dropped the creepy at this point, but this is like kind of creepy, right?
Yes.
with like the shadows on the wall and then making the noises of the demons.
Season 7 really brings that back, though. The creep factor of Buffy. You know, we have conversations with dead people. We have different moments like that. And this, the hairs go up on my arm whenever, they have a fast moving picture with like voices that shouldn't be there that are increasingly getting louder and louder. This scene was, the shadow casting scene was very effectively creepy.
Yeah. And so they open a portal, and I even liked when like Xander's like, "How are you so good at reading Sumerian now?" And she's like, "It's become English." Like, like I love that. The portal opens. They're all kind of like, "Ooh, don't step through." And Buffy's like, "No, I got it."
Buffy has never seen a glowing energy spot she didn't want to jump into. No.
Rude.
It's her little quirk. She's quirky like that.
She just likes him. So then we find out that, because someone says, right, like when this is going on, there might be an exchange. And we find, as Xander says, they're exchange student, and it's this ridiculous looking demon that looks like a low rent orc from Lord of the Rings. Maybe, question mark, I think.
Holy, yes.
Like the muscles look just like puffy, fake costume muscles, right?
Yeah, styrofoam muscles, yes.
Like that's me under there. And I gotta point out, my girl Kennedy is the first one that's like, "Get me a weapon," and just like runs at the fucking thing. I do love Spike being like, "I got this," and then getting thrown through the ceiling. Very Neil. It reminded me of wait, Neil, what did it remind me of? The scene in X-Men when in X-Men 3 when like he throws Wolverine through the so then Zach, where are we?
So Willow starts her big mojo thing, right? They have to go through. They lose the demon, right? The demon takes off.
Right.
And so they need to open a portal. I think that's like step number 1. They don't know what the fuck is happening. So they decide Willow needs to do some magic, and she's like, "Oh, I can't do it, Right,
because Anya has a very good line here that I do like. It's like, she's like, "She can do it herself. You missed her everyone sucks but me" speech. I thought that was a really good.
Yeah. And so Willow like gets to work on opening this portal. And you know what I find a little disappointing about the season is that we have the magic as addiction storyline, right? But we don't really have an arc where Willow kind of learns to control her power. It always kind of just overtakes her.
Happens, yeah.
And it keeps happening over and over again until the last episode. Does she have control over it? Does it like...
Yeah, no, I think she does.
It's like a half and half. I don't know. If it's changing her hair color without her permission, I think I don't think she has that much control over it. But yeah, they get into this and they're all standing around and watching Willow do this big magical spell to open up this portal. Is this before or after her and Anya go back and forth about their knowledge of magic?
This is when it happens, because I forget what it is, right? Because she does go, "Pfft," and Dawn's like, "Are you helping?" Which I thought was a really good bit.
Dawn's doing the thing that Buffy is not being able to do, which is, let's talk this out. Let's everyone contribute a little bit to the conversation. We all have different pieces of this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's season 7 Dawn is my favorite version of Dawn, because they make her so much better and so much more capable. So we get the portal opening, and we see Buffy snapping through and into the desert, which I'm pretty sure if it's not the exact same spot, it looks like the spot where she met the first Slayer in Restless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Joshua Tree.
Oh, does it?
Yes. I'm like, oh, this is like, it's probably supposed to be somewhere across the universe, and it's definitely a Joshua Tree moment.
It's a place where everyone has been stoned.
Yes.
I gotta say, though, I like that it does a little bit with the cinematography here, or at least the lighting, to show that it's quote-unquote different, right? Because the show doesn't often do that, and I do really like the look of her here, and I also like the imagery. I mean, I love her fucking like skirt in this, and I love the imagery of it like blowing in the wind in the desert. So she then runs into the Shadow Men as she's like walking in the desert, and I like that even Buffy's like making a joke, because she's like, "How do I understand you?" Just kidding, I know it's magic. But then they knock her out as she's like rambling nervously to them. And we cut back to the Summers house. Oh, this is when, Zach, they actually have that back and forth.
They're jumping around so much that I'm a little confused. Okay, I got it. Yeah, everything I just said about Willow happens here.
Because this is when Spike's like, he needs to go get something, and it's just his jacket. And it's like, oh, you can beat up the demon without your jacket.
I think there might have been like a line or like a scene cut that was supposed to like lean into that. It just seemed like it was very like they rushed through some sort of story with Spike.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic. It's like, obviously he's back to his old ways. And then of course, Robin Wood is there waiting, just being a drag. And,
I do like that though. I really like Robin seeing the jacket and knowing whose it is.
Yeah.
And, that's a really good moment.
Yeah.
Well, and like, that makes sense that he would recognize the exact jacket that like his mother died in, right? Like he watched her.
I mean, talk about triggering, all the bells and whistles going off there.
Yeah.
But so Spike leaves. They're like, whatever. They do their back and forth. Willow does do her start to do her spell, and she like blasts over Dawn and Kennedy. But then we cut back to Buffy. She's like waking up and she's chained up. And I don't know. I just really like the imagery. I think it was a really good outfit for her to wear against this like desert cavey type background.
Are any of y'all in California?
Yes. Yeah, I am.
Okay. In February, is it cold enough to be wearing a big chunky sweater and a denim jacket over?
If you're dramatic enough, yes.
It's all about the fashion.
Yeah. I mean, like LA weather is super bipolar around that time. So one day it'll be super hot and the next day it's, sweater weather-ish, you can make it happen.
I will say the costume designer has said that the reason she wore a lot of those is because Sarah Michelle Gellar was always cold and she wanted to wear layers.
I'm a big turtleneck fan.
I don't love the turtleneck, but she pulls it off really well.
It's a great outfit.
I think she looks great.
Yeah. And I mean, when I visited LA, I feel like at night it does get colder, right? Like that, I would bring a hoodie with me to wear, like if I was going out.
Oh yeah, and especially the longer you're here, the more out of touch with how cold actually feels that you do start to believe like 60 degrees is freezing.
Yeah, absolutely, it's freezing.
my Zoom trainer is in LA. Hi Wes. And he'll always be like, "Oh my god, it's freezing today. It's 65." I'm like, "Give me a break." But so they're like doing this spell. They're like talking to her. She insists she has enough power. I want to know what everyone thinks about, because I would have just taken it. I don't know that I would have given a shit and been like, all right, it's part demon, but it'll help me be stronger. Sure, why not?
I think she was just controlling the narrative. She was like, I don't need these men telling me I need more power.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
She's just like, stop calling the shots. It's time that someone new takes over and like starts to like figure out what's going on here. Because we don't know what that power could have done to her. It could have corrupted her like the first.
Yeah. She could have turned into a big scary demon. You don't know. And there's a way for them to do this easier. They could have put it in a little pill or something, a little chewable.
Or just be like, hey, we have these powers to offer you. Would you like them?
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it, of like, we kind of figure out, again, like going back to maybe why the first layer is so intense. I mean, she was made the first layer kind of, it seems like, against her will and through the kind of like violent, non-consensual act. And so in some ways I do like the parallels of that as like being a woman and being like, no, I am not going to take your weird, creepy demon power by force. I'm going to fight back and like do this on my own. Thank you.
And she can fight back. She's got the, she was there chained all the while knowing she could like take these chains off. She's like, let me see where this is going first. I'm going to see what they're doing.
Yep.
But the first Slayer didn't have that power initially. She had to stay there chained.
Yeah.
And this, it was a really good look into kind of what the first Slayer experienced. And it would have been nice to get like, I don't know, even a full episode of like the first Slayer's backstory. There's a comic book run called Tales of Slayers, and that would have made such a great like mini series. And they start with the first Slayer.
Yeah, no, I Zach, I feel like you and I have talked about this 100 times. I'm always all for that.
I mean, if Ryan Murphy had created Buffy, we would absolutely have an ongoing anthology series of Tales of the Slayer at this point, and I would be there for every single season, no matter how off the rails it went.
Oh my gosh.
Don't ever say if Ryan Murphy had Buffy. It's like you're putting a curse out there.
I know. Which character is Sarah Paulson playing in the Buffy universe?
She's playing Buffy.
No.
She's playing like a badass lady watcher, probably.
Well, she's playing that, and she's playing one of the gentlemen, and she's playing, she's multiple roles here.
And Spike.
And Spike. Yeah. And Spike.
So Buffy kind of beats up two of the guys. She I don't love the fake scream they have her scream, because it even feels unlike Buffy. Like Buffy doesn't scream.
Because she decided she wasn't going to scream anymore, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because even in Hush, that's a dubbed. It's like someone else did that scream.
Sarah.
It's hard to fake scream.
And she didn't want to be labeled a scream queen.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, Neil, Ivy, you both are performers. Have either of you heard a scream on camera?
Yes. It's hard.
Right?
It's really hard. Yeah.
You can't really replicate those sorts of moments unless you're actually faced with danger.
A slightly fun fact is I actually did a porn parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer called I Know Who You Fucked Last Halloween.
I love that.
And I was the final girl, and I screamed a lot, and I had no voice after that, and it was not from the scenes that you think it would be from.
That is what we're going to talk about on Nudie Judy.
Yes.
Yes.
I fucking love that. I love that you just dropped that on us. That's awesome. But I've only had to do it once, because I did a little fake movie trailer for my book, and I was supposed to scream, and I couldn't. There was a scene that I wrote that the character I was playing had to scream, and I had to redo it because I just could not scream. And everyone kept being
go.
You sound like a robot. You need to do it again. And I'd be like, I don't know how to scream. But so Buffy screams, rejects the smoke monster from Lost, and beats up the other shadow men. This is being cut with Spike. He has his jacket on. He's going. Robin Wood has seen him, tells him nice jacket. He says he got it in New York. And then he's fighting the silly puffed up monster. Did we all, I don't know that I noticed this before, but I think the cigarette is a reference to when Spike first comes to Sunnydale, when he gets out of his car, he lights his cigarette. Yeah.
Oh, cute.
He's not the same. He could try. Put on your jacket, but it's not the same.
He's a puppy on a leash now.
He is. Which is
not
okay.
having it.
If he is okay with that, that is fine. He's feeling like he's got to prove his manhood to Buffy.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of sad.
And the techno rock beat that drops as Spike's beating up the demon was very of the time. So he kills that demon, brings him to the house, and then Buffy confronts the last standing Shadow Man and is like, tell me something or show me something I don't already know. And he's like, all right, cool. And puts his hand to her face. And then we get the exchange. Buffy's back.
And I just say that she looks so stunning. And
Yes.
when they light her face up right there and his hand to her ear, I'm just ugh, this beauty, this grace. I'm obsessed with that moment just because she looks so beautiful.
Hard agree. She really fucking does. So we get, because we didn't mention this, but because Willow had drained energy from Kennedy and Anya to open the portal, Kennedy is freaked out. And I almost feel like we're too close to the end. Don't do this. Just blow past this. Say it didn't make you feel great, but you're fine. I don't need them. They do a little too much of trying to drum up more drama with the characters at the end here. When I'm no, it's fine. Everyone keep going. We're good.
I mean, for Kennedy too, she is now facing the reality of this war. We saw her earlier. She was so excited to call someone a maggot, and she was like, "I get to be a trainer. I get to be the teacher, and have everyone look up to me." And now she's really freaking out. She's like, "People are going to get hurt. People are going to, potentially turn on each other. This is where we're at. And am I ready for this, or am I actually still just a scared little teenager?"
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like her first like real brush with like actual darkness, and like seeing that side of Willow. And yeah, I thought it was kind of lame that she was so like weirded out by it when Willow's given her fair warning of what it's like when it gets bad.
Right? She really has.
And Kennedy still like eggs her on, right? Like, you'll be fine. It's okay. Just take a little bump of this magic. You'll be okay. And Willow's like, you don't know. You don't get it. Well, she gets it now.
Yeah.
So, Zach, where do we end the episode? Where does Willow go after this?
Oh gosh, where do we end the episode? I'm just spacing. I'm sorry,
Neil. Where do we go after this?
Oh my gosh, co-host dropped.
It's with Willow and Buffy, right? They talk about Buffy's experience.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this a lot. I like these moments. I think it is wild that Allison Hannigan and Sarah Michelle Gellar were like basically not speaking during this season because their best friend moments are always like my favorite moments. And I like that, like, even though, Willow just had a fight with her girlfriend, but she's kind of like, all right, let me check in on my best friend. And she's not like, holy crap, Kennedy and I. She's like, how are you? And Buffy's clearly feeling bleak. You have a counterpoint there?
Yeah, I don't think I agree with that. I think the Scoobies are, throughout the series, growing further and further apart. And I think seeing them together in this scene really, they seem distant to me. They seem like they really only are tied together because of this. But if they were living in a normal world, they probably, wouldn't be friends. Like, what happens after season 7? I don't think they would have stayed in touch much because they don't seem like the closest of best friends here.
They just seem like war buddies.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, that also kind of what being friends is. Like, we went through some shit together.
Well, especially if you're in your early 20s like they are, you don't quite realize that yet. You think friendship is just all like, oh, like, we're just going to, like, go hang out at the Bronze and, like, go see a movie and talk about boys and girls. And then now they're starting to realize, like, oh, like, adult friendships are a lot harder. And are we ready for this?
What's your reading on it, Ivy?
I actually feel like it was kind of sad. It felt a little distant to me too, because I do, like, in season 7, I miss you find yourself missing all those moments, and you don't realize you miss them until you see them together, but they don't have that same connection. I don't feel like they do.
All right. But so Zach, what is the reveal here?
The reveal is this big ass army of Uber vamps, and that this shot is fantastic. It's almost like when you think to the finale, it's crazy that this little group of girls is going to go up against that. It's wild because this is so intimidating when they do this big pan out shot of all of these people on in the Hellmouth.
And I remember how I felt when I first saw that, like being like, holy shit,
intense.
Neil, what'd you think of that, like, kicker at the end?
Oh, I mean, like they had already been kind of hinting at, like, this, like, epic battle was going to happen, but we didn't quite realize. And this is not our first time in the actual Hellmouth, is it? Like, actually seeing what's down there?
I think it is, actually.
They've only jumped in there, right?
Yeah. And we've only ever seen the Turok come up from it, but this is kind of the first time you're like, oh, this is what's in the mouth of hell. It's just this army waiting to be unleashed. Like, they had always talked about it just as this mystical conversion point, but, like, finally seeing what's down there and, like, what's waiting for them, it's like, oh, there's a reason Buffy had to keep this closed for so long. This is really bad.
Yes.
Yeah, it's extremely overwhelming and kind of epic at the same time. Like, I think it kind of gets you a little bit excited about where the season's going to go. Like, how are they going to do this? This is psychotic. It kind of gave me, like, that same overwhelming feeling of, like, when you're watching Lord of the Rings and, like, the orcs just don't stop coming, It's like, but how?
This always also reminded me of the rave from The Matrix.
Yes.
The rave from The Matrix?
Yeah. When they go into, like, the underground society, like the techno rave that's happening, I think in, like, is it in the second one?
I think it's the second one.
Yeah. I was like, I want to party down there.
Yeah, I like techno raves.
A techno vampire rave.
Techno music playing with this reveal, too.
And now for a quick break. Folks, do you love movies? The good ones? Even the bad ones everyone told you not to like? It sounds like Super Yaki is the place for you. The team at Super Yaki loves movies. So much so, they've dedicated every waking moment of their life to bringing you top-quality merchandise to showcase your love for them. From super soft t-shirts celebrating the 20th anniversary of the cinematic masterpiece Josie and the Pussycats, to comfy sweatshirts made for the brave members of the Movies by Yourself Club. They even have pins of some of your favorite directors, like Sofia Coppola and Jordan Peele. Super Yaki joyously brings you tangible love letters to movies and filmmakers that you can wear with pride. Plus, the team at Super Yaki screen prints all their apparel using eco-friendly, 100% water-based inks, and ships with compostable poly mailers for an environmentally friendly alternative to online shopping. And as a special gift to you, listeners can save 10% on their order with the code SUPERSlayerFest, all caps, no spaces, at checkout. If the spirit moves you, find them at superyaki.com. Let's watch more movies, y'all. And now, with a fashion roundup for Get It Done, we have Buffy Season 7 costume designer Matt Van Dyne. Hello, Matt.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm excited what you have to tell us about this episode, because I think I've told you before, that outfit she wears in the desert is like one of my favorites.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I do recall. I do recall that you said that, and some other people have said that as well, and that is so funny. Which I'm going to share something now with you that I never have before.
Ooh, okay.
I didn't like it.
Really?
Yes. Initially. Okay. I didn't like it, and I watched this episode. I'll just share it with you. Yesterday at 4:30 in the morning, because I wanted to prep for you guys to make sure I knew what I was talking about. So I looked at it and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I'm not sure why I didn't like it in the beginning, except I have my scripts and I have everything, that related to this episode. Pretty much, I have a lot of notes about this show for this particular episode. And I'm looking back, and which would be the third draft of the script, but my first draft, it was the first one I received. In the very initial script, I have written it down for that particular scene when she's in the cave, that she will be wearing pants.
Huh.
Now that was before, and then I thought, now why would I have written that down? Because it was in the notes in the later script that there's a wind element and the skirt blows and all of these things happen. Well, that wasn't in the original script. So that's why, she could wear pants. And the reason we wanted her to wear pants was because, as I've mentioned before, Sarah always wanted to be warm wherever she was. And she was going to be out in the desert in January up in, the high desert here in California, which can get very cold, at certain times of the year. So that was the idea was, we'll just put her in pants. So then what happened later was I have a note here, and it's probably, I don't know if this was to myself. Oh, wait. Yes, here it is. It says, Sarah feels it works in office and something, I can't read my other scribble. Okay. That's, I guess this is when I came up with it, was to do the skirt, because I talked to, is it Doug who maybe was the writer? I talked to them about, what was going to happen when they changed it to the wind element. And I thought, well, if we're going to do a skirt, I want it to be something that's going to show, like a lot of movement. And that's where we came up with the tiered idea of the skirt and being 3 tiers or whatever like that. So, it'll really flap and blow and all that. But also to keep her warm was to put her in the high boots. But then I wrote here something not too dressy, something that crosses all scenes, which is what happens in the show. After having looked back at it, Sarah ends up wearing basically the outfit, only adding the turtleneck underneath later on. But it does work throughout the whole episode. So we came up with something that really, played well over the whole episode. So, and I know where the denim jacket came from. I can tell you, it's a theory jacket. That's what it is. Okay. And it came from let's see, did I write down where it came from? Multiples, we had to buy multiples of it. I don't have where it came from, but it came from, but it was $175. And doesn't it look great on her? I was looking at the color of that blue, just that shade of blue, how pretty it is on her.
Yeah, because it's not quite like fully denim normal color. It's like a little light. Yeah.
Right. And she just looks so pretty in it. And then with the turtleneck too, just the way we layer it, I thought, well, it looks so nice, And like I said, though, in the beginning, when I did it, maybe it's because I was disappointed because I had a different concept for what we were going to do. And then when I had to change it, I'm like, oh, okay, we'll just do this. But what was also interesting to me in this episode, the episode opens. Isn't this the episode? Yeah, she's in bed, right? Or the dream.
She sees the first Slayer. Yeah.
Okay. And when I watched this, I thought, well, I'm sure those are juicy sweats, that she's wearing. The velour sweats. She loved those. But I was watching how I did the darker version of it at the very end of the episode because of everything that happens from. It's kind of like bookends. It's almost like the same outfit, but one's lighter and one's darker. And I really thought that through at the time. I as I watched it, it came back to me, and I went, "Oh yeah, that's why I did that." But
I love that.
But Sarah wears everything so well anyway. Yeah. So, and what I just wanted to mention from a previous episode, something I noticed that she was wearing in the previous episode. It was a burgundy wide neck V-neck sweater. It's like, and I thought, she looks great. I like her neck and her décolleté, the cleavage, whatever you want to call it. It's just so beautiful. She just wears everything so beautifully. And then she wears turtlenecks so beautifully. It's like, everything, because she had this long neck. I think that's why, everything worked that way on her. But I just thought, she looked so beautiful in the episode. And I loved her earrings. I made note of them, but I don't know where they came from. I wish I could tell you. I don't know. But and also in this episode, I noticed, I just think Emma, who played Anya, great clothing. I just thought she looked great when she's out in the denim jacket in going for the walk. Is she on the walk with Spike? Is that who she's with? I forget.
Oh, you got me stumped for once. Now I can't remember.
When they run into the demon, right? De Hoffman. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Which, by the way, De Hoffman was all made. That was all custom made. But we didn't really get to see too much of him. I don't know if we ever see him again or not. But that outfit was made. But Emma's denim jacket was something. All of her outfit was mostly from Saks. And that was a pretty denim jacket that she wore, that tied at the waist, and it was by a designer called Tyler. I'm not familiar with that design. Huh. And then her little pants. She always wore the prettiest low slung pants, because she just had that beautiful body, And those were Theory. Those came from Theory. And they were $195. And I don't know if we needed multiples for those or not. I'm not sure. And the cream cardigan, that comes later. I'm sorry. The cream cardigan that she wears later in the episode. That was...
Wait, Matt, I have to ask you something. Was he supposed to... Because he's not in this episode, but he's mentioned. Is he supposed to be in De Hoffman?
Well, who was the demon that attacks them then? Good question.
Oh, the like random demon that comes through the portal.
Was that not De Hoffman?
Okay. No, that was just like a random demon.
Gosh, okay. Well, I've screwed this up, didn't I?
No worries.
So anyway, whoever that demon is, he was custom made. See, I'm more about the costume than the character, I guess.
Right.
Who is the name of the character anyway? But yes. So, and then there's the portal demon, right?
Yeah.
Decor, right?
Yeah. Was that just like a rental, or did you like make?
No, we made that, and then nice. I had allotted for that in my budget. I think there was for him. I think it was $800, as I recall, to make him. Yeah, it's Portal Demon, we called it at the time. $800. And but what was funny is his Ugg boots came from Nordstrom, and we, of course, we distressed them and all that. But they were $228.14. We had to order them. They were ordered.
I love that the demon had Ugg boots.
Yes, it was an order. And then Principal Wood, we have. I thought it was kind of sweet in the episode. They make a note of him being a snappy dresser, which was really sweet. But I remember we ordered his dress shirt I have here that he wore later in the episode, I guess, at some point. And that we had to order it. It was a Xenia dress shirt, which we had Xenia suits for him as well. But the dress shirt,
I haven't even heard of that brand.
Yeah, it was $212 for his dress shirt, and we had to special order it. What other notes do I have here? But this whole episode had a larger budget of $31,750. It was a large episode. It was a big episode. Mm-hmm. And for Sarah, I had allotted $4,800 for her clothing.
But you made that skirt, right?
Yes, it was all made. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I did design that and made it. Yes.
That is so impressive. How long, because you had such a short schedule, did you have to
That was pretty much overnight. Pretty much.
Holy crap!
So come up with something and fit her, pretty fast. Get the fabric, all that. You run out to the F&S Fabrics. That's who it was. F&S Fabrics, and over in on the west side. They were fairly close by, not too close, but fairly close by. But then, we had so many other characters in this episode. And Spike, I had allotted $1,200 for him. And I wanted to mention, this is funny. I have such a specific memory of this. This is a funny, I don't know that I've ever told this story. Probably, I might have told it when I was in France for the convention, but in this episode, I didn't remember which episode it was. And I thought, is that the shirt? Well, he's wearing this teal-colored shirt, and it had little details on it. But one of the details on the shirt was that it had French cuffs. Now, this was something he'd never worn before. And he called me to the set, James did. And he said, now, why would I wear a shirt like this? And I said, well, here was my thinking. And I did have a reason for it. I said, well, I just remembered, in your past life, you were somewhat of a dandy, in the way he dressed. And, that is kind of like spilling over now into your life now before you make the big transformation back to being the big Spike that we always were aware of, and I want to say something about this. And I want to say when he makes the transformation and puts the coat back on, the leather coat, hats off to Cynthia Bergstrom for that, because that coat is beautiful, and it works so well on him.
Was it the same one? That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, it was. It was the same one. As I recall, it was. I don't think that I'm going to give her credit for it anyway, because I think it is. I think so. I would think.
I mean, it would make sense that they wouldn't get rid of that because they would know he would eventually wear it
come
again.
back to it. But I was going to say, hats off to Cynthia for that. That was a great look on him. It was. I imagine it was inspired by probably back to the Matrix and all that. I'm not sure, but I
would think somewhere between the Matrix and maybe Lost Boys.
Lost
from,
Boys.
The 80s.
Oh, isn't that a good one? Lost Boys.
Yeah,
that was good. Movie. I like that movie. 1988. See, I have a thing about movies, but 1988. I remember that film. But in this episode, like I said, we have so much, and I had so many different things. Like Spike. I have. What did I have? $1,200 for him, and for a stunt double, $1,200 as well. Stunt Willow. Now, this is the episode Willow wears that beautiful spangly kind of print top, right? And I just love it. It's floral. It's so pretty. I haven't found in my notes where I got it. I don't know. Or did I make it? I don't remember. But it's so pretty on her, and I just love the way it photographed on her. And I just always think Allison looks great, in her color, in the color palette that we had for her for this season. I just like the way she, with the earthy tones and, being the mystic or whatever that she is, and all that, that it comes through. And the jewelry, her necklace was so beautiful that she wore with that top in this episode. And I just loved it. But it was funny. Back to James, though. That was so funny. I convinced him about that shirt, that he should wear that. And then, I slowly watched the episode, and then I saw him lift his arm in one scene, and I went, yeah, there it is. It's like, and it's also, how would I put this? I think as costume designers, we often project a lot of ourselves onto different characters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I would wear that way,
okay.
And I probably put that, projected that onto him in some way, because I thought, well, that's the way I would wear that shirt. I would wear it untucked. Even back then, I was doing untucked way before untucked was ever a thing, way before. And just roll the sleeve or loose like that, without a cuff link or something. I just like that look. It's like chic but casual, and that's the way I saw his character, sort of that way. So, but I can remember exactly where I was standing when I was talking to him about it. We were off to the side by ourselves while everybody else was clustered, and I said, that's why you're wearing that. And he liked the idea. I think it fed his character, and it was how he had built his character as well. So I think it worked for that. And then with the potentials, I was looking at all their different clothing. Oh my goodness, there's so much.
I know. All I could think of was, God, Matt had to do so many different outfits for that.
They all look different, which is great, And that one scene, I want to say for the character Kennedy, when she's like barking at them and being so mean, and then she comes over and she's talking to Buffy and DB Woodside, Principal Wood, and she goes, "What was it?" She says, "I love this job."
Yeah.
I just thought that always stood out for me in the whole series. I just always thought, that is such a funny line. I love this job and the way she delivered it. But I remember looking at her outfits, what she's wearing, and how I have her dressed, and she's wearing Dickies, which I thought, that is such a good choice for her character. That she would wear Dickies.
Yeah, totally. I have 2 questions for you.
Sure. I hope I can answer them.
So, Dawn wears that little blue embroidered.
Okay. Yes.
Did you do that, or was like you found a shirt with a D on it? And
I think now I have a note here. Let me. I'm going through my notes. Dawn shirt with the D. Bloomingdale's.
Oh.
And I don't know if we put the D on it or it came with the D. I can't tell you.
It is cute.
Isn't it adorable? The shirt, I can tell you, we had doubles of that shirt, and it came from Bloomingdale's, and they were, for 2 of them, it was $136. So that's, that's not, but I know, I mean, it's unusual that there be a D on it, right?
Right, yeah.
Right.
That's why I had to ask you. I was like, I wonder if Matt put this on.
I think I must have done that.
And then the other question I have is the first Slayer. So she's only really we had seen her before in episodes, but she's only in that beginning. Did you have to create that outfit, or do they have that?
Which one is it? No, wait, the first Slayer. Who were we talking about?
She's in the beginning in Buffy's dream.
Chloe.
Chloe. She has like the wraps.
Chloe. That's her name.
No.
No?
That's the Slayer that commits suicide.
This is the one first. Okay. Wait.
She's literally in Buffy's dream. She's like the first Slayer. The woman with dreads. Like she's got the white face makeup on.
Is that in this episode?
Yeah, it's just in the beginning.
God, I just missed. How did I miss that? Wow. God. Well, it was 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
so I'm looking through. I must have created it, I guess.
Because it is like the same kind of outfit she's worn. I mean, I think she's only been in like 3 episodes before in like flashbacks or dreams. And so it's like, she's like, I think if I recall.
Had she worn this outfit before?
Yeah.
She had.
She always had the same outfit.
Then maybe we had that then.
Okay, because I didn't know if that was like something you had to run or something like.
Well, but I'm looking. It says primitive stunt.
Yes, that would be her. Yeah.
Well, I must have built it because I have $700 there for it.
Oh shit! Really?
So
Nice.
I'm thinking. I'm going to go back to the very beginning. I've got the script here.
She's like when Buffy she's the one Buffy like kind of fights in the beginning in her dream.
Yeah. I'm looking to see if it references her, but I don't see a reference to her. Assailant. Unseen assailant.
Yes.
Primitive plus Buffy.
Yeah.
There it is. A double. Well, I must have made it. I must have made something.
Oh, nice. I love it. There's so much stuff that like you did so much. There's like shit like that you're like,
how do you remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you remember? Yes, because it says primitive plus Buffy. Primitive stunt. Yeah. So I must have made it, I guess. I don't. I have to look at. What's it look like?
It kind of looks like basically like wraps. It's like white and wrapped around her body.
Oh, we made it, I'm sure then. I'm sure it didn't exist. I mean, from way back when, I doubt it was still there. I'm sure what I did was they probably gave me videotape to look at to match it. And I probably matched it.
Yeah.
And we matched it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I have the budget here for it, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I don't have a rental on that, so that wouldn't have been a rental.
God, I feel like that would have been such a pain in the ass to recreate.
Yeah, well, I have to look at that. Wow, because that says primitive plus stunt. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Vi, Felicia Day.
Yeah.
That little outfit she wears with the shrug. I remember creating that. I remember like we had the sweater thing, and I'm like, oh, I don't want her to look just the same, it was like Emma or whatever, or like a little cardigan or whatever. And I thought, oh, okay, let's turn it into. And we just got out a pair of scissors and started cutting, and turned it into a shrug. We call it
nice.
And the little rainbow colors and all that, I thought looked so cute on her. She looks. Yeah. And then of course we have the tribal men. In the cave, and we built a lot of that. That was built, and there were some rentals that we built on, as far as like maybe a headpiece or something. But I have the swatches of the fabric.
Really?
Yeah, connected to my research that I did. I still have all that.
That's funny.
And I have it's a blue, like a batik. And a gold batik and a red batik, I think, fabric. And then I think I found that on Hollywood Boulevard with a lot of the jewelry that they wear. Yeah. And but those I think not too long after the series ended, somebody told me they were on eBay or something.
Oh, really?
I don't know if the studio sold them or what, but. But, and then, at the time, I'm like, oh, do these look good enough? I'm just so critical of, but looking back at it, I thought they looked great. I thought, oh, they look pretty good, So, but yeah, we made those. And then what else happens in that episode? Well, that's the episode I've told the story about Sarah wearing the spike heels, and, she's in the cave and she fell through the cave, the floor of the cave, when she her heels sunk into the cave, but that's a story I've told before. So you guys know that story, but, and then we get a glimpse of the vampire army at the end, don't we?
Yeah.
And that, I just looked at that and went, no, I know a lot of it's CGI, but a lot of it isn't. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, what? And when we get to that later on, I'll talk more about building all of those. But, but obviously, I had to have something ready for this episode. So, but we built we built an army basically, and I had an army of people putting them together too. And putting them together, building them, and dressing them too. It was we actually had a chart of sorts about how to dress them, and and I'd hand it out to the different
people
helping to explain to them. Okay, rather than standing there all the time answering questions, so. But yeah, it's just amazing to me, like, looking at the episode, like I said, the purchases and rentals, and I have notes in my script about this stunt is a hand pull. I don't even know what that means now.
Neither do I.
It's a hand pull. I guess they're just like pulling her back. I don't know, with something. But yeah, like Sarah's stunts double $1,500. Part of that, of course, is the jacket. And then, I didn't double exactly her turtleneck because I'm sure it was a much more expensive one, and I got one that was more affordable.
Did you have to build more than one of the skirt?
Oh yeah, we did that. Oof. Yeah, and because Sarah only wore, nothing ever crossed between the principal and the stunt people. Yeah, we never did that. And oof. I was looking to see, there was something else I was going to mention about. Well, just in general about Chloe's. The first that I mistook earlier about her. I have a lot of notes about her clothing, just about that she should wear, certain slippers and socks with her slippers. I don't know what that was about, but it's in my notes. And that her outfit, I think that little shirt was Paul Frank, which was a clothing line, or is maybe still a clothing line. I'm not sure.
But it was big back then, I remember.
Yeah, big back then, Paul Frank, And I think her little slippers were only like $18. But a lot of the sleepwear for the potentials, it all, it's just in groups. I have what we bought was from Nordstrom, and, but, even buying it, you still do a lot of styling and choosing and selecting, and sometimes I wonder if it isn't just easier to build it, because when you build it, it's more contained as far as the shopping part of it and all that, going out and finding it and all that. And when you build it, if you have the budget to build, for episodes, then you can, get all your fabric, your workroom, everything together. And do that, and this was kind of a hybrid, what we did, on this show. We did a little bit of both. But thanks to my cutter fitter, Shirley, who, helped build the African men and all of that. But I look at these huge episodes and my crew, they just worked tirelessly because, to catalog and keep track of your purchases, you have to, describe everything in detail, and you have to account for everything in detail. And I look back at the notes and my reference books, and that's why I'm able to share with you all, because they would, catalog these things and make them.
I mean, it's impressive, Matt.
accessible to you. Yeah. Well, thank you. And, and thank you to my staff, who helped me do all that. But it was a big undertaking. And, nice. I look at the breakdowns of the episodes that I would, break down the scenes. I have cross plots when things worked in certain days and certain, which characters were in that scene. Now, I did all that myself. I did that plus the designing part of it.
He does it all.
Well, that was something I carried over from, doing when I was supervising. And I thought, well, this way I can keep track of it, what we're doing. But I could tell you what day that, we were talking about the primitive and that dream sequence took place. It was on January 22nd. I have it in my notes here, what day that was going to work.
The day after my birthday. Nice.
Yes. And is that your birthday? That's right. January
the 21st.
Wow, the 21st. Oh my gosh. You're 1 week after my mother's. But yeah, this was the episode I think I mentioned earlier about, we were shooting episode 15, doing second unit on episode 13 and 14, doing shoots within a few days on episode 16, prepping it. I mean, it's insane. It is just insane.
Well, Matt, thank you for joining us, and thank you for all this info.
Thank you so much. It's nice to talk with all of you, and I hope I didn't bore you.
Never.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, now that we're at the end, favorite outfit, Neil?
I think what Buffy goes into the portal wearing, it's just like so like it's almost too insane. Like it's like the skirt and the turtleneck and the denim jacket, and I'm just like, you know what? Good on you, girl. Like you look comfy when you're going to this damn portal. So like happy that you're happy.
But like comfy, but also like I think like kind of fashionable with that giant fucking skirt.
100% fashionable. Like she looks great, and it looks like something that she could still kick ass in, which we do see her kind of have her moment in that. So I'm like, that is a good hero outfit.
Yeah. Ivy, what's your favorite outfit of the episode?
Willow coming out with the weapons with her monochromatic psychotic top. It was like it's bejeweled orange, red, matches her hair, and it's just giving me super late 90s, early 2000s vibes. And then the return of Spike's jacket,
Zach, what's your favorite outfit?
Buffy's portal outfit. I just don't think it gets much better than that.
Well, shocking no one, all the gays agree, because yes, same. This is actually my favorite, like, season 7 outfit. I am, like, partial to her finale outfit, and I do like, she wears a lot of denim jackets. I love a denim jacket. But this is my favorite Buffy outfit this season. Like, I think it's fucking fantastic. Favorite scene, Zachary?
The shadow casting scene. I think it's insanely creepy, works really well, and I like it.
Ivy?
I like the speech because it feels like it's like a really pivotal moment in this episode and in the entire season.
Neil?
Oh, the shadow casting scene, 100%. When you said it was this episode, I got so excited because I just remember I was always obsessed with shadow puppets as a kid, and like seeing that on Buffy, I was like, this is catering specifically to me,
it was
a
for
gay
you.
Teenager.
It was yours. That was all for you.
Yeah, all for you, Neil. And yeah, again, same. That's also my favorite scene. What grade do we give the episode, Ivy?
I would give it a B+. It's pretty good episode.
All right, Zachary?
I'll say a B. It's good. Yeah, it's good. B.
Neil?
I'd say an A- because I love whenever they explain the mythology of the Slayer and how she came to be. So this is always a deep cut season 7 episode where I'm like, oh, it's so good for the world building, even at the very end of the show's run.
Yeah, I give it an A. Because again, I agree with you, Neil. I like it's world building, it's adding stuff, but doesn't feel like too rushed as some other stuff does towards the end. Yeah. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Zachary, for co-hosting with me. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at SlayerFestX98. You can support us on Patreon, which is much appreciated, where you can listen to Zach and I. We do a monthly sex-positive talk show called My Nudie Judy. You can watch all those videos, and you get access to all our bonus episodes, where we're currently, not quite yet, but we're getting there at Harley Quinn Season 2. And if you want to follow me, I am at Ian X Carlos. Neil, where can everyone find you?
At Neil_McNeil on Twitter and just Neil McNeil on Instagram.
And Ivy, where can everyone find you?
It's Ivy Lebelle on Instagram and Ivy Lebelle XXX on Twitter, but beware, it is adult content on Twitter.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.